Well, hey guys, welcome back to Don't Wait Until You're Brave Enough. My name is Andy Martin, and this is my YouTube channel. I'm a 65-year-old songwriter and musician who is attempting to be a lot braver with getting my work out into the world. And yeah, I'm sorry that I've not been posting more regularly lately. Just a lot going on, a lot of illness going around. I don't know how that is with where you are, but up here in Southern Oregon, there just seems to be a lot of stuff going around. I want to do something a little bit different for the next 3 episodes, and I was hoping to start this out with that Courtship of Eddie's Father theme song, People Let Me Tell You About My Best Friend. I just didn't want this flagged for copyright issues, but anyway, that song really describes the guy that I wanted to talk to you about, who was very much a huge influence in not just my music, but my dream to actually do something with it. And so my best friend from high school is Wesley Stephen Gray. And Wes, if you're out there listening, then your ears will be burning and you'll probably wish that I hadn't shared as much as I'm going to. So, yeah, all right, all that to say. So Wes and I met in high school. I was in 9th grade, he was in 10th, and I'm not really sure how we came across each other, but when we did, we clicked, a lot. It's kind of neat the way that just sort of happens, falls into place. And so we hung out and, discovered that we liked just a lot of the same stuff. We both played guitar. And, of course, you got to start a band, right, when you play guitar. And so a couple of the things, we used to go to Wes's house after school and we'd hang out and stuff. And some of the music that he got me into, I hadn't really listened to up to this point. But I just have 2 of the CDs here of the albums that we listened to. One is On the Border by the Eagles. And so we would put this on pretty loud and just, air guitar to Already Gone or whatever. And that was just wonderful. That was so much fun. And then, of course, yes, life would not be complete without Bachman Turner Overdrive, Not Fragile. Yes, coming at you cross country. I love this because he could sing kind of like the guys, and we would just laugh. We'd laugh at the pictures of the band because there was Blair Thornton. He was this guy right here. I don't know if you can see him in the super tight spandex playing the SG. But we just loved Randy Bachman and just the whole band. Everything about BTO was amazing. They were just so loud and amazing. And that's how we wanted to be. We wanted to be heard, So we would go over to my mom's house and just jam out in the garage. And my stepdad would come out and bang on the garage door and tell us to turn it down. And Wes was such a good sport. This was before looping, when you actually had to have somebody play rhythm guitar for an hour and a half while you just soloed endlessly over mindless stupidity, the box A, pentatonic scale and stuff. But he was always a really good sport about that. And we would write songs, of course, about the girls that we knew and stuff. Well, it turns out, I guess we did start a band because I found in my high school yearbook this, and it's kind of a dedication about the band Orion, my favorite constellation. But you can see Andy Martin, lead guitar, and Wes Gray, rhythm guitar. Mike Flanders was a good friend of ours who played sax. And then Schaefer Dunaway was this very interesting guy. And he's down as drummers, but as the drummer. I never remember playing with Schaefer, but, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. But one memory I do have of us playing together. So there was a guy named Mike Martinez who was running for, I think, like student something president, whatever, in 12th. He was a 12th grader, and I don't know how we knew him, but so there was a pep rally that I remember. I don't know, mixed memories, and the guys could probably straighten me out on this. But one time we were playing at something, pep rally, whatever, in the gym, and somebody thought it'd be a good idea to take a mayonnaise lid and fill it with match heads. And then we were going to light it as sort of a flash bomb at the end of our song, which I think was, we're an American Band by Grand Funk, but we did Buy Your ASB Card instead. Whatever. We were young, And so at any rate, I remember somebody lighting that thing off, and it was just a big cloud of very stinky smoke, and that was about the extent of it. And I think that earned us a trip to the office. It just, the price you pay to be a rock star. At any rate, so moving ahead, there was this band, and these are 3 of the 4 members of Orion. The guy on the left, the drummer, is Alan Duvas. And you'll kind of meet Alan a little bit later when we talk about the movies in episode or part 2 of this. But there's Alan on drums. There's Wes holding his guitar. I am holding an old Sears piece of junk Les Paul copy that we thought it'd be a good idea just to torch after this gig. And then there's Mike with his sax. We were playing an outdoor gig just right outside of McDonald's, and I don't know what it was for. It was just something, and we were loud, and people across the street were probably drinking and getting stupid. I think they caused a ruckus. It turned into sort of a melee with the sheriff's department, and we were instructed to shut down. So we felt we had earned our rock and roll cred. So I think we went back to Mike's, and this took place there. I'm not sure what else we did besides burn guitars, but I'm sure it probably was not suitable for young people. But there we were, budding rock stars, as it were. So that's kind of, I don't know if that was a Ryan part two, or we just called ourselves the Riot Band. Yeah. One memory I do have that is not the best, but I remember being at Bonsall Church. This was Wes and I went to youth group there, to meet girls probably. Supposed to meet Jesus, but I don't know. But one time we went there to do a band practice, and Mike came. And I remember that Mike had a jar of whiskey for some reason. And remember he said it was to loosen up. And I really loosened up to the point that Wes was playing. And I remember reaching around behind his amp. And somehow there was a pair of wire cutters. And I thought it'd be the funniest thing to just snip the leads to his speakers. I was the only one that found this hilarious. Everyone else really was rather not happy with me. The pastor, Gary Bobo, took me home that night, and he and my mom sat me in the living room and had a long talk about my behavior and things. And unfortunately, things didn't get much better for a number of years after that. But that's another story, another video, and a whole lot more songs. So, moving ahead. So where are we now? Wait, here we are. High school. Wes is front and center. I love this picture because it just kind of captures the whole... we're listening to Led Zeppelin. We are rock stars. Now, the yearbook that's right there, kind of to the left of the picture, that's from later on. That's maybe our junior year. If Wes was still in school, I would have been a junior. He would have been a senior. And he looks like a senior. He's just all like, yes, I'm a rock star. And he was. It was fun. So I'm sitting next to him there, kind of looking off to the side. And we're in our flannels and just too cool for school. And then you can see Mr. Pelton in the back looking to roust somebody. And anyway, so moving ahead, we then did a scene. This is from my mom's house. My mom took this picture. Wes is sort of a cross between Sir Galahad and something else. I don't know, an Egyptian mummy, maybe, wearing a Coors t-shirt. I love it. And then I'm kind of channeling a little Steven Tyler with my very cool Litronix LED watch way back in the day when these digital watches first came out. So yeah. This is a really cool thing. It was fun, whatever. We were having a good time. This is one of my favorite pictures. This is us about a year and a half, at my daughter Abigail's wedding. And it just kind of, I love it because Wes is just kind of channeling Gandalf. And I'm sitting there as the father of the bride, just kind of getting wisdom. We were actually just talking about everything because he and I, from the moment we met, it seems like we have always talked about everything. And it's funny, I just real quick remember when we went to our 50th, it was like a mixed high school reunion, classes of 77, 78, 79, and 80. And it was just, I loved it. But I remember picking him up at the airport, and we drove from, I think it was LAX, all the way down to like Oceanside, California. Both of us talking at the same time, nonstop. And it was just a perfect upload of information. Both of us just totally got it. And that's only something really best friends can do. And what's so funny is we might not talk for, months and months or a year even, and then just pick it right back up. And that's such a wonderful gift of God. Also, I don't know if I said this already, but the reason that I wanted to really celebrate my friend is that this year Thanksgiving falls on the 27th, which is also his 66th birthday and also his wedding anniversary. And I think it's got to be... oh my goodness, way in the high 30s, maybe even 40 years. Maybe more. I don't know. That is so commendable. So brother, if you're out there, I love you so much. I'm praying for you. And just, man, the Lord bless you. Thank you for being my best friend for life. And I want to make you proud, buddy, with my music and what I'm hoping to do. So at any rate, people, let me tell you about my best friend. Tomorrow we'll look at the band, or the next episode, whenever that is. He and I were in a band in the 80s called The Movies, and that was probably the closest thing we were ever into an actual rock and roll band. And I'll talk to you about that and play you some Movies music. We actually did a tape. And then we're going to talk the third episode about a thing Wes and I are doing called Theremin. And it's it's kind of a music/art thing that's super modern and fun. We'll get to that in a couple days. So anyway, Thank you guys for listening. You are always, hold on, so gracious. And I'm sorry about the laggy camera. I don't know what's going on tonight. It's just things, you know how it is? Everything works until it doesn't, right? So, but I'm appreciating that you're along for the ride. And, you know, whoever your best friend is, tell them thank you and that you love them. Because, man, what a gift. All right, people, I will talk to you soon. And, yeah, enjoy.